So you've got your Buddy Flex, and you've probably been using the Coleman 1 pound propane tanks. And if you're smart, you've been using either the Flame King or the Fuel Keg as an alternative to buying these one-time use cans, or you're refilling these yourself. But you're wondering, how do I safely and easily use my 20-pound grill tank that I'm using to fill these guys up, or just sitting by the grill when I'm not using it, or if you got plenty of spares like I do? How do I use this to run my Buddy Flex or any other Mr. Heater Buddy propane heater for that matter? Let's talk about it right now. Utilizing the 20-pound propane tank or a 30-pound tank is super simple with the Buddy Flex. You simply need a hose. Now this is the 12-foot hose that requires a fuel filter. Requiring is in giant air quotes, and we'll use that loosely. But the concept is that this hose can actually leach out some oils. There's lots of debates over where the oils come from, but this basically traps the oil in here before going into the Buddy system. Now, I don't know for sure whether the Buddy Flex suffers from the same issues that the Big Buddy and the Portable Buddy and some of the other Buddy heaters, Camping Buddy. Those often have like this little tube that dips down behind where the propane flows through, and the oil ends up clogging that tube, ruining the heater until you get in there and clean it out, which is not fun. I don't know if the Buddy Flex has the same Achilles heel, so to speak. If you want to be on the safe side and you're using the 12-foot hose, and they've got part numbers, this is the F272702, and there's a part number for this, but I'm going to put them all in the description below, or they're going to be linked as an actual shopping item right here in YouTube, which you can easily shop without even having to leave the app, which is kind of a cool feature now. A lot of people are using it. It's pretty sweet. But if you don't want to use the fuel filter, you can get the 10-foot hose, and that one supposedly is made out of a different material that doesn't require the fuel filter. I would say go ahead and just get the one that doesn't require it, because you have to change these out every so often, and you're going to be better off just getting the 10-foot hose, unlike what I did. Of course, this is what was available at Tractor Supply for me. So how does it actually work? It's super simple. We're going to move these guys out of the way. Also want to point out, this is for demonstration purposes only. Having the propane tank inside the building is not what you want to do. You need to store the propane tank outside of whatever building you're using it in, and run the hose through a window, and then you can kind of plug the rest of the window with a towel or something like that. But we're going to take it out of the box. Nice long 12-foot hose, which is the benefit. Having those extra 2 feet kind of helps. So the first thing we're going to do, you're going to find, if it's not on it already, sometimes this little built-in star wrench thing will slide down. You just got to find it, push it back up, and you're going to stick it in the hole right here. It's pretty simple. It goes in here. Now the thing to remember with this is since it's going on the inside of the propane valve, it's lefty-loosey, it's lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. Man, I cannot say it. You got to turn it left to tighten it up. It's exactly the opposite of everything else in the world. So that's fun. So get in there, make sure it's nice and snug. Then you're going to want to be sure that you've checked for leaks. You're going to spray some water on it, some soapy water, or if you don't have a spray bottle, which is always like, who has a spray bottle for soapy water? You can go through and just get some soapy water in a cup, pour it on the valve, and just look for bubbles. If you see bubbles, there's something wrong. It's either not tight enough, or you've got a busted O-ring or something. So be aware of that. The next thing we're going to do, scoot this guy over a little bit. And I like, personally, to go ahead and add the fuel filter onto this end of the hose before I get it on there. It allows me to have, I guess, more flexibility with getting this on, but I don't crank it all the way, and I'll show you why here in just a second. Well, I can show you why right now. If you crank it all the way down, it actually makes it harder for this to twist on the hose. So if you leave it just a little bit loose, then the whole thing can twist a little bit. So you're going to spin it around. So then you're going to come over to your swivel regulator, pull it out, and remember this is not super tight here, so it can spin around. Get it up in here, and with any luck, left-handed, I'm going to be able to get this on the first try. Looks like we're making it work. So you're just going to twist it on here until it's tight, snug it up pretty good, and then you're going to do your final tightening of this brass part down here, and that's it. The next thing we're going to do is come over to our 20-pound tank, slowly open the valve a little bit. You don't have to open it all the way. In fact, I prefer to just crack it a little bit. That way, if you ever need to turn it off, you don't have to spin for 5 minutes. Now, you're going to have to purge a lot of air out of this hose if you haven't used it already. I have, so it's going to go relatively quick for me. But you're going to turn the dial to ignition, press and hold, and then you're going to hold down on the ignition button. And that's going to light the pilot. Once you've held that down for a few moments, you can release, make sure the pilot's still lit. Then you can turn it over to high or low. I love the Buddy Flex. This is one of my absolute favorite Buddy heaters. One of the things that I like is this 180 degrees of heat going around. And of course, most of the heat really just goes straight up. But I like this because having 4 boys, if I use just one of the standard heaters, if I use just the big Buddy or the portable Buddy, then I end up my children end up being in arguments over who gets to stand directly in front of it and get most of the heat, where you can get a good amount of heat right here, 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 anywhere you're at, right around this area. In fact, if you have 3 people sitting in a chair, or in chairs, like camp chairs, you can set this down close enough to where it's kind of putting heat out to all of them. I really enjoy the Buddy Flex. If you haven't seen it already, I have an entire video on just the Buddy Flex cooker, which is the companion to the Buddy Flex. It snaps onto the bottom and allows you to pop it off and use it as a great little camp stove or an emergency burner for boiling water, scrambling some eggs, whatever you need to do. I'll post that at the end. All of the items I've discussed, whether it's the fuel keg or the Flame King or the hoses, all the product numbers and everything are going to be in the description. You can also utilize the native shopping app right here. If you use those links, they'll help out my family and my channel and allow us to keep bringing more content to you like this. Thanks for watching. I'm Eric with East Texas Homestead, reminding you to live faithfully and prepare thoroughly for good times or bad. See you on the next one.